got one of them about a mile back and closing. Tally. And I got the second one about 2 miles behind him. Tally 2. Is that him right side, just in the middle of the lake? Not a factor. Okay. Going out.
When you first see them, they're only a dot on the horizon. Then they turn and start to make their run. Down low, head on. They're so small, you hardly know they're there. If you didn't see them, you'd never know what happened. Sudden thunder, the sound of freedom. For the next hour, you're going to watch up close as America's best military jet demonstration teams put on a dazzling performance. Sudden thunder, the sound of freedom. For the next hour, you're going to watch up close as America's best military jet demonstration teams put on a dazzling performance. From Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, here comes the pride of Canada, the Snowbirds, in their big 9-plane formations at the National Championship Reno Air Races. From aircraft carriers all over the free world come the most elite naval pilots and Marine Corps aviators. You know them best as the Blue Angels. And from Las Vegas, Nevada, the pride of the United States Air Force, you're going to watch the fabulous Thunderbirds. Military jet demonstration teams fly maneuvers that are similar to actual aerial combat. Some of the maneuvers have been dressed up for air show presentation, but for the most part, the demonstration teams follow standard air-to-air combat maneuvers. It wasn't that long ago that the Navy still used A-4 Skyhawks, a line attack jet known for its extreme maneuverability. The A-4 was a smaller aircraft, owing to its ability to turn on a dime and give you the change. Off the deck, the two opposing solos, one right side up, the other upside down in the carrier landing configuration. The A-4 is a highly aggressive attack airplane. It's one of those aircraft you don't just fly, you strap it on your back and go for it. The control surfaces are particularly responsive. When you bank it over, it snaps in like a Swiss watch. Flight leader brings the formation in, with gear down and the arresting hook extended. They call this the dirty configuration because the plane loses a great deal of its aerodynamics because of all that tall gear hanging out there in the wind. Now, if you think this formation flying is trick photography, just look at how close the formation has tucked in together. Watch the precision of these two incoming aircraft. here they are all together, the best flying demonstration team in the U.S. Navy. The Navy, well, they decommissioned the A-4 for carrier duty almost 10 years ago. Still, it was a fine airplane to fly, and the pilots loved it. The A-4 was replaced by the F-14 Tomcat, made famous in the movie Top Gun. But today, the backbone of the Navy is the McDonnell Douglas FA-18, the Hornet. In a solo performance, here's how the ship performs. So much for solo flying. I wanted to see what the Blue Angels had done with the Hornet. For that, we went to MAS El Centro, winter home for the Blue Angels in California. As we approach the main gate, you can feel the pride and tradition that is pure Navy. And there's little left to the imagination that this is Blue Angel country. I first found the Blue Angels' new F-18As chalked up on the ramp at a special hangar adjacent to the main active runway. Fat Albert, the Blue Angels' flying parts warehouse, motel, personnel carrier, and all-around gopher, was parked close at hand. Fat Albert is an affectionate name given to the C-130 Hercules cargo plane. It's staffed and flown by Marine Corps pilots and ground crews. Now, because the Blue Angels were only here to practice their routines, I'd rather expected that some of the regimentation and spit and polish would be missing. Boy, was I wrong. The planes were lined up picture perfect in a row, straight as a carpenter's plumb line. These were no longer just F-18s. They were true Blue Angels. Every wing, every surface, every detail was attended to by a host of ground support personnel. If this was just for practice, you couldn't tell it by me. These people were serious and living up to their reputation as the Navy's best. If you've ever watched the Blue Angels perform, I'm sure you've seen the military manner that the pilots and crew members act out before a large air show audience. Well, at least I thought it was an act until I watched them fire up number 7 for a test flight. The routine you're watching is not for the benefit of an audience. What you're seeing is standard air ops. Once the pilot is briefed and seated comfortably in the cockpit, the crew chief stows the entry ladder up under the wing and takes his place in front of the aircraft. As he waits at parade rest, the pilot secures his retaining harness and leg restraints in anticipation of flight. When the pilot is ready to start engines, he signals his intention to the crew chief, who in turn gives a 3-fingered hand sign, which is the signal to his ground crew to start the APU. That's the auxiliary power unit needed to start the jet engine. When the APU is up to speed, the pilot signals his intentions to start the engines. The crew chief passes this information along to the crew with a 2-fingered hand sign. Listen now to the startup whine of these big General Electric engines. Once the second engine starts and the instruments have been checked, the pilot operates the control surfaces, checking the ailerons and the vertical stabilizer rudders. When the pilot is ready to embark on his mission, the crew chief signals him out by hand, finishing his duties with a crisp military salute. The pilot returns his salute of respect to his crew chief. If you fly your own aircraft, you may be interested to know that Blue Angel pilots do not pre-flight their aircraft for safety. The aircraft's integrity and performance is the responsibility of the crew chief. This is how complete and absolute these pilots trust their lives and their equipment to the hands of their ground crews. Perhaps now you know why a Blue Angel salute is given with such great pride. As number 7 rolls out to the active, the pilot once more checks the controls prior to takeoff. The flaps are half, the tower clears, and the throttle moves forward as the F-18A advances down the runway here at El Centro. No rotation, just plain brute thrust catapults the aircraft into the sky. The Blue Angels practice their planned routines twice each day, 7 days a week. I talked with the right wingman, Marine Corps Captain Mark Bircher, about wake turbulence and the Blue Angels' daily training procedures.
Well, we pick formations relative to each other's aircraft that really minimize the aircraft interference, and the times that we will be going through wake turbulence is usually restricted to just through the turbulence, so the impact is really minimum. As you can see, the aircraft in formation have a depth. We keep a little depth between the aircraft so that each plane is actually flying in undisturbed air.
There are 4 diamond formation pilots and 2 solo pilots, a total of 6 pilots in the air. You may notice that in these shots, the normal 4-plane diamond only has 3 planes. Where's the 4th plane? Well, on this day, left wingman Donnie Cochran took the day off to be with his wife in San Diego as she made him a proud new father. But for the remaining Blue Angels, the rigors of practice continued under the bright California skies, minus Donnie Cochran. Now here's a great-looking display, the Blue Angels fleur-de-lis. As the 4 diamond pilots turn their craft toward the sun, watch as one of the solo performers passes from underneath. Over the top and straight back down, the diamond formation performs a perfect loop over the floor of the Imperial Valley. Once the practice is complete, the planes break into groups of the 4 diamond pilots and the 2 solo performers. Flying Blue Angel number 1, the commanding officer and flight leader, Commander Gil Rude. Flying Blue Angel number 2, the right wingman and Marine Corps representative, Captain Mark Bircher. Flying Blue Angel number 3, the left wingman and proud new father, Lieutenant Commander Donnie Cochran. Flying Blue Angel number 4, the slot pilot from Dallas, Texas, Lieutenant Commander Pat Walsh. Now the tough guys. Flying Blue Angel number 5, the lead solo, Lieutenant Commander David Anderson. And closing up the back door, the opposing solo pilot, Lieutenant Wayne Molnar. As the sun sinks into the west over the Imperial Valley, after months of intensive training, the Blues are ready to take their routine on the road, thrilling audiences all over the world. Gear down, the lead solo performs a dirty roll on takeoff. From the right, the opposing solo sucks the gear, holding his aircraft flat on the deck. Next, he'll roll the aircraft and perform a vertical loop, exiting show center in the opposite direction of takeoff. Approaching from the left and right at over 400 miles per hour, the two solos perform the knife edge pass. Watch for the blur of the second plane. From your left, the two solo pilots pass in the carrier landing configuration. Gear is down, flaps are down, and the arresting hook is extended. But the lead solo is doing it all upside down. Watch now as Blue Angel number 5 rolls out of the inverted position.
From your right, the tuck-over roll. From the center, the diamond breaks formation. Watch this pass.
Approaching center point. Let's watch as they slide from left echelon to a trail position and back into the traditional Blue Angel diamond.
In both directions, the opposing solos perform a square loop with 4 distinct sides. Then return to show center for a second high-speed pass. From the right, the formation pilots perform a right echelon roll. Watch how close the pilots are flying in the next pass. Listen to the sound of those General Electric engines.
From the left, at 350 miles per hour, the Blue Angel, right abreast, right pass.
Watch now as the Blue Angels perform the six-plane Fleur de Lis. The pilots join back into formation for a final six-plane flat pass over the field. One by one, the planes peel off from their formation in their standard approach to carrier landing. Watch closely and you can see Blue Angel number 6 working the control surfaces as he approaches the numbers. Once again, the Blue Angels taxi 2 abreast as they pass the gray bus, which has been parked on the runway, their land reference for those beautiful opposing passes. As the planes exit the taxiway and approach the tarmac, the ground crews prepare to receive the aircraft. Guided by the crew chief, each pilot positions his aircraft in a line abreast formation. After Blue Angel number 6 reaches his final position, the crew members stand at attention and wait for the signal to move. The engines will power down and the canopies will open simultaneously on all 6 aircraft. All together, the pilots exit the aircraft and descend the ladder to stand in front of their aircraft. This is your United States Navy, the Blue Angels.
Now, in just a moment, we're going to show you the incredible Thunderbirds and the Snowbirds from Canada. But first, I want to show you an unusual airplane. It was one of the first jet aircraft made in the USA, which was used extensively in military service. The jet is called a T-33. It's also called a T-Bird. It looks like some of the old jets we used to draw as kids in school. Now, this T-33 was called the Red Knight. It was owned and flown by veteran race pilot Rick Brickert, who later lost his life in the crash of an experimental airplane. Sanders Aircraft in Chino, California, equipped the Red Knight with a wing tank smoke system for air shows. The smoke also helped pilots line up for the start of the unlimited air races out in Nevada each year, where the Red Knight served as the pace plane.
From straight overhead, smoke is on as the Thunderbirds in a six-plane formation arch down out of the blue across Show Center. From the left, in the dirty gear-down configuration, the Tennessee Walk. The Thunderbirds are flying F-16 Fighting Falcons, a highly responsive air-to-air attack jet and tactical bomber. Now, from right to left, the opposing solos. Now here's a nice four-plane maneuver. Watch closely. Once more, the two soloists inbound from the north. Watch for the split. The Thunderbirds are stationed at Nellis Air Force Base, Las Vegas, Nevada. They perform in countless air shows like this across the country and around the world in 47 countries as ambassadors of the United States Air Force. Once more, the opposing solos. From the right, the four-plane slow flight formation. Now, watch closely. Once more, from a different angle, the two-plane split. Take a look at the fire in the afterburner. Watch now as from behind, the two solo performers join up with the four-plane formation as the Thunderbirds take a final pass across center stage in a salute to the Reno audience. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. The Snowbirds had come to Reno with their red, white, and blue Canadian tutor trainers. Earlier in the week, yours truly and members of the press took a ride with the 431st Air Demonstration Squadron over Lake Tahoe. We managed to squeeze in a beta deck and one of the Skyfire finger cams for the ride. Within moments, the engine started and we were rolling out on the taxiway, and then down the main active runway with a second plane on our flank. Captain John Lowe was piloting our aircraft, Snowbird number 5. As soon as we left the field, the Snowbirds formed up alongside Peavine Mountain for the trip to Tahoe. If you've never flown in a tight formation, it's quite an experience the first time you come up on the rest of the squadron at full speed. Just when I thought we were going to crash into the plane in front of us, Captain Lowe popped the speed brakes, slowing our forward motion. All the planes were moving about quite a bit within the formation, something that is not apparent when you watch the Snowbirds from the ground. Lake Tahoe was its usual pristine blue, reflecting the color of the sky. On the way back, I asked Captain Lowe if we were allowed to do anything besides flat and level flight. He explained that it was strictly against regulation to do any aerobatic moves with the press on board. But I said, "Captain, I'm not press. This is Skyfire, remember?" Captain John Lowe of the Canadian Air Force. My kind of guy. They come from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, home of the 431st Demonstration Squadron, the Snowbirds. Before their official performance, I spoke with the two opposing solos, Captain Les Rassico and Captain Rich Lancaster.
I always dreamed that I wanted to be a pilot, but I never thought it was really attainable. And I can remember going and watching the Golden Hawks and the Golden Centenaires and watching the Snowbirds in my hometown fly, and I thought, geez, that's what I want to do. And I thought, like most other people, it's like trying to go to the moon. It's never going to happen. But, I took the bull by the horns and joined the Air Force, and I've done everything I've ever wanted to do in the military, in the flying.
Do you enjoy coming to America to perform?
Oh, the hosting down in the United States is always great. I mean, we have nothing but fun down here. Sometimes in your home, you're treated as, well, you're ours, but down here we're a very special guest, and we reciprocate to the United States teams as well when they come to Canada.
Now, Les, tell me something. You've been in the Canadian tutor for, almost 2 years now?
Yes.
And you were obviously rated in a Canadian FA-18, I would assume, or?
No, my background was I instructed on this aircraft for 5 years. Then I flew T-33s in Canada and Germany, and then I came onto the team.
I see.
Rich was the F-18 demo pilot last year in Canada, so he's got a vast experience on that aircraft.
So Rich, are you able to stay current, obviously, when you're here? I mean, your heart's here and your head's here. How do you stay current in the FA-18?
The F-18 is a very logical airplane, and it's a very easy airplane to fly for a pilot that's been doing it for a while, since, it wouldn't be too hard to jump back into it and get right back up to speed.
Do you miss the performance of the 18?
Well, yes, like I tell most people, the ejection seat in the F-18 has more thrust than these little tutors have, so it's, you have to adapt to that. But when you get up with 9 other airplanes or 8 other airplanes around you, and, we're pointed at the ground, I have to keep an eye out for Les, keep an eye out for the ground, and also for the other planes around you, the excitement level's there, as much as I had flying any fighter I've ever flown before.
Here's your airspeed indicator, your horizon altimeter. These are the ILS system for landing in the clouds. There's just a compass, a DRMI, your vertical speed indicator. This is basic stuff that you use for instrument flying. Mach meter, turn and slip, clock. All the engine instruments are grouped together, and just a few of the radio setups there. Okay, red buttons. This is a multi-stick that we use in Canada. In our aircraft, the trigger is for smoke. This button here would be to cut the intercom off if I didn't want to hear what somebody's talking outside and I want to talk between, let's say, if I was teaching a student. Top button is a trim button. In my job as a solo, I mean, I have no heartache of rolling this thing upside down at 200 feet, and I've never got myself in trouble yet with it. If I did, it's probably my own fault.
The plane captains, assigned to maintain each aircraft, stood in front of their ships, providing hand signals to the pilots. Like other demonstration squadrons, the Snowbirds are a vivid lesson in coordination.
Snowbirds, check in. Snowbird 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
They taxi together, and they turn together. There was little doubt about how Reno audiences feel when the Snowbirds are on the roll. As they taxied by the grandstand, two maintenance technicians checked the smoke tanks under the wings. We attached several Skyfire cameras all over the aircraft so you could experience what it feels like to fly like a snowbird. For realism, the voice you're going to hear is that of flight leader Major Dan Dempsey as he commands the Snowbirds.
And Alpha, try it again.
Yeah, don't forget your cameras, boss.
Okay, we got them, thank you. Try and take it down a little bit lower on the run-in this time, so it'll be bumpy for the first part. 2 minutes back.
You're looking at the pylon camera, mounted on the underside of Major Dan Dempsey's aircraft.
Trailer.
Forgot John and Rich on the run-in, just to go a little bit more at the pylon.
This is the view as seen from Captain Rassico's number 8 Snowbird.
Slightly.
This is the way it looks looking out the front window of Captain John Lowe's number 5 Snowbird.
Lead that check, winds vary between 2 and 4 o'clock, 15-20.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, boss, check in.
Snowbirds, check in.
Snowbird 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Snowbirds, smoke now. 2 back. 1 back. Pulling up. Next time, go. up. Gonna be a shallow pier. Two back. One back. Swing right. Right. Swing right. Relax slowly. Slowly. Tightening. Hurry up. Tightening.
Watch now as the Snowbirds approach the Reno pylon and execute the Canada burst. Let's watch that move again, this time from the pylon mount on Major Dan Dempsey's aircraft.
Snowbirds, split now. Snowbirds, smoke off now.
Here come the tough guys. Captain Rasico from the left, Captain Lancaster from the right. Their combined closing speed exceeding 700 miles per hour.
Solo start now. Solo roll now. Solo roll now.
From center stage, watch as the Snowbirds change formation in the loop from a wedge to the arrow formation. This is the way the formation change looked from inside Snowbird number 5.
Arrow, go.
As the Snowbirds come out of their loop, watch as the two trailing aircraft break the formation.
Tightening. Firing up. Solo start now. Bring on. Tightening. Or drop. Smoke off now. Five lead solo smoke now. Contact. Contact. Solo pull now.
From the right, in the line abreast formation, the Snowbirds will execute a difficult roll and loop with limited visual reference.
Keep rolling now. Solo smoke now. Contact. Contact. Solo turn now. Split now.
From the north, listen as Captain Les Rasico executes the amazing lag-back cross.
Heads up. Solo split now. Roll back. Cover smoke now. Hours one back. 6. Roll now. 7 now.
Captain John Lowe and Snowbird number 5 approaches the formation as Major Dempsey calls for the outside Snowbirds to roll, followed by a simultaneous 4-plane Billion roll.
Going up slightly. 235, change names. And go.
From Show Center, the Snowbirds will now pull up into a loop and change to the wedge formation as they prepare to execute a maple leaf burst. Once again, Les Rassico and Rich Lancaster counter-rotating with the twizzle roll. Now for the climax of their show. The Snowbirds will turn off the smoke and change formation as they set up for the Diamond Bomb Burst.
Snowbirds, split now.
After the show, the Snowbirds signed autographs and answered questions for the audience.
Well, there you have it. Snowbirds, the Thunderbirds, and Rockin' Blue Angels. America's best. Plenty of sudden thunder. For Skyfire, America's video storyteller, I'm Jim Mitchell. Thank you for watching.